Tiny Tarot, hey, what have you got to say today? I am Christina Smart, aka Low Key Magical, and I am here with the podcast master, Earl. Earl, how are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Awesome. Earl Hale is with Toy Robot Productions, and Toy Robot Productions is responsible for producing the Tiny Tarot podcast, and I am so excited about that. He does a fantastic job. This podcast looks fantastic every week, and because of that, it is doing very well on all of our platforms. What platforms are we on, you might ask? Well, there is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. We have the entire podcast on Spotify and YouTube, and we also have my little daily reads on Facebook and YouTube. So why is it becoming so popular? Well, the message is consistent and the messages are good, and also because you like, share, and subscribe. So please don't forget, especially if you're watching this video, to go ahead, like, share, subscribe. If you do have someone that likes tarot reads, or they're new to podcasts or whatever, something resonates with you that you feel like you should share, feel free to. And speaking of sharing, if you would like to donate to our podcast or to my website, there is information in the contents on my YouTube site and also on Facebook of how to donate. And that keeps the podcast going and helps me produce more of this artwork up here that you see. And yes, these prints are going to be for sale pretty soon, which will be fantastic. And I also want to give a shout out to the Divine Psychic Center. I am now doing reads at the Divine Psychic Center in Rogers, Arkansas. We've got the information up on the screen for you here. You can feel free to look up their website, give them a call, stop by the shop. Dawn says hi. It's an awesome little shop. And if you would like to schedule a tarot read with me, you can get a personal read, like eyeball to eyeball, for a full hour with me and tarot. Oh, so beneficial. If you don't take my word for it, look at the reviews online. I've got some really good reviews as well. But Tiny Tarot is always going, okay, that's enough business. Let's get to it. All right, the channel is coming in. And when I was asking Tiny Tarot about this week, what message should I get out? Again, I referenced a few tarot reads that I had recently. Some different individuals that are coming into some new, I don't want to say powers, but just kind of recognizing abilities that they've already had. They have come through some things in their lives and they realize, I'm saying they because it's more than one person, these people that I'm coming into contact with are realizing that they've got a new toolbox, or the tools that they've developed because of what they've come through and what they've healed, that those tools are valuable and that they could share those tools with other people. That's a nice breakdown, but it comes like this. I feel like I need to do something and I'm not sure what it is. It's like, I feel like I have so much to offer now and I'm not sure what step to take. So we often address tarot just to kind of give them a next step, a feeling of where would this energy best be placed and how do I get patient about letting that come up. And so I asked Tiny Tarot, all right, if that's what's coming to me physically here locally, then that's probably, again, the fact that I'm attaching to or connecting with other light workers, therapists, and people that are caregivers in a way. And some of you are stepping into that role and deciding, should I do this professionally? Or even if I'm not doing it professionally, how do I do it as that role in my family, in my society, in my circle of friends? That if you have people that tend to come to you for advice and for that loving kindness that they aren't getting in other places, how do you really step into that role now that you know it and become your best self for that? And the next part of that came up when I said, hey, Tiny Tarot, how do we do that better? Was the thought of imposter syndrome. Are you really feeling that you are the one who I don't know, deserves to step into the role? Like, am I good enough for this? And imposter syndrome may not be something that everybody's heard about. So we're just going to address that today with Tiny Tarot, because it may be more apparent in your lives than what you realize. That's the message that I'm getting, first of all, is that you may be thinking, oh, how do I determine that I'm good enough for this job or for this role or for this new goal that I've set for myself? Maybe it's not being a therapist or a caregiver. maybe it's, I want to be a professional musician, or I want to professionally read tarot. And am I good enough to do this? Is this really just because I say I am, just because I feel it in my heart? Does it mean that I really am? And that's where imposter syndrome comes in. And it may be affecting you in more places than just that one talent or that group of talent that you have found recently. Interesting. Already getting that message. So with that being the case, Tiny Tarot, help us address imposter syndrome today. I am going to divide these cards into 3 beautifully equal stacks here. And I'm going to ask Earl to please choose intuitively stack 1, 2, or 3 today.
1.
1. We're going with 1. All right, Tiny Tarot, we're going to start talking about imposter. There's an imposter, and the imposter, this is interesting. It came out as the Magician, and initially in the reverse position. So the Magician first says, you've already got everything you need. I love the Magician card. Let's look at it in the upright position and beautifully in focus here. The Magician is the number 1 in tarot. That's kind of important. To me, it represents the purity of creative energy that comes in, like as the baby is growing in the womb. Nothing's really affected it yet. It's just in there, and it knows what it is, and it's ready to become. Okay? So all of the pieces are there. If you look at, I love the representation in this card. You've got your pentacles, you've got your cup, you've got the wands, and you've got the sword. So that's all of the work. That's everything in the world, right? It's what you're using to work with. It's the results of the work. It's your feelings about the work, right? It's what you say and what you think. The Magician has it all together. And he also has that beautiful little infinity symbol over his head that means because he's done this deliberately in the womb, I'm not saying it's an accident, but in the womb, it's happening as a result of a process. But the Magician is directing it. He's saying, hey, I've figured out that there's power in all of this. When I work with it the way that it originally came in, when I reassemble those original pieces and I put them together, and then I access that knowledge that I know I've got going on already, I can do magical things. That's why I'm called a magician. I love this. And if you look at the root word magician and imagination, the magician can imagine. That's where the magic is, okay? That's the magic. Like, that's where the whole thing is. Now that I've got all of this together, I can speak the words, I can do the work, I can see the fruit, I can, all of that. I can now imagine and put all those pieces together. So why was this upside down in the first place, Tiny Tarot? And by, I mean inverted, you know what I mean? It's not, I'm just saying the energy of this initially when I saw it was inverted like this. And Tiny Tarot says, because you really do already have everything that you need. It's a matter of recognizing that. The Magician recognizes and eases into that. And to be truly powerful, it's a balance between the kind of confidence that you need, that regal sort of confidence that you need to instill confidence in the person that you're speaking to, but also that not tipping over into the egotistical presenting yourself as more than you are. And that's where the fear comes in. I fear that I am presenting myself as more than I am. I fear that in my true confidence, I may present myself inadvertently as more than what I am to the person that I'm coming to, and that's not fair to them, and I don't feel right in this, and then it turns into, and what if I fail because of that? What if I upset, this is important work, what if I upset the other person that I'm talking to? What if I give them bad advice? XYZ, right? So I love this. Initially, the Magician is saying you've got everything you need. All of the ingredients are there to make the most beautiful cake. The cake that you wanted to make in the first place, or you wouldn't have gathered all these fantastic ingredients. It's this trust up here. It's this, the holding of the higher. He's got a plan. I feel like, to me, this represents sort of that when you've written the spell on the scroll and you've rolled up the scroll and he's sort of declaring channeling the energy from, there's so much on the magician card, guys. I could probably do a whole show just on that. We may do that one day. The magician card. It's as if he's channeling as above to below. See, he's actually got his finger pointed. So I am manifesting that which I have decreed here to be experienced by me here on earth. Why? Because I know I have accessed higher wisdom as a combination of my intent to gather all of these and then the result of gathering all of these and then channeling up to this again. I know that I can make this happen on this earth because I have everything that I need. It's natural. It's going to happen. And wow, what a powerful punch at the very beginning of this. The imposter syndrome is the inversion of saying, yeah, maybe I've got it all in front of me, but I can't see it. I don't have the faith, right? I haven't clearly declared what it is that I desire. I haven't put it on paper. I haven't rolled it up tight. I haven't put it in my fist, to really make it mean something to me. I haven't declared, this is what I would like. Now it's clearly defined. This is what I would like. And I would like to see this brought down into the physical because I know it's possible, because I'm confident that I have acquired everything that I need, and in the physical and the non-physical. So what are we saying here? What are the swords? I know how to put my thoughts together appropriately. I know how to say the right things. I know that I've cleaned up my belief systems a little bit. I know that I've cleared up my vibration. I know that I don't go around just speaking, I'm speaking truth now. Oh, who doesn't want truth? How does truth not make you powerful as a magician? So then what else? I've got the cup. I'm honoring my heart now. I know the power of emotions. I know that they're a bit of a compass that points me in the right or wrong way. So I've got that tool. I've got the pentacles. Does that mean that I need to have money? Come on, what are pentacles? I've built a peaceful space. I have fostered and now understand that which is truly materially important to me. And I have been able to see myself as a creator in that aspect. Whew, that's also really nice and big. I like that. And then what do we have left? The wand, of course, the work. I've actually done some work. I've physically done work, and I can show you where I have done that to improve myself, to improve so many things in my life, just to learn. What have I learned? What did I take steps to change? Not just talk about, but take steps. See how the magician ties all that together? So take some time. First of all, how do we get rid of a little bit of that imposter syndrome? Is we take some time to truly immerse ourselves in recognizing that. And what does that feel like? Well, okay, that feels like a 9 of Pentacles, and that's really nice. So what are you spending the majority of your time doing? Are you wallowing in an I don't know what to do next? I might not be good enough. I don't know, right? I don't have enough of something. One of these pieces is missing. That's if you're trying to shift that energy, where do we start? 9 of Pentacles. And we look at this. This is richness and exactly what I talked about, cultivating a peaceful space. And that again, if I clear my throat a lot, that's channel moving in and reminding me, let this flow, trust in this message. Do you even do this enough yourself? That's what it's telling me. Look at really what you have, the metaphor that I use with this card. Look at how elegant this person feels and how the bird is just easily perched there. And it feels like there's a garden that I live in the South. So if you've ever thrown something out like pumpkins or blackberries and then you forget that you threw that gourd or those berries out there, you can turn around the next summer and just have an overgrowth of gourds or an overgrowth of blackberries that you kind of forgot were back there. And why did they grow so well? Maybe you had layers and layers of compost there that you, again, it's taken time to build up. So you sort of forgot that that nourishment was all there. And then you kind of threw something that you felt wasn't even worth that much over your shoulder. Nature takes its course. That's the important part of this. You're just doing what you do. Nature takes its course and you turn around and go, oh my God, you know what? I had a lot more here than I thought. And it's useful to me. It's wonderful to me. It's fantastic to me. It's something that I can benefit from. That's a big part of this. So what are you ignoring in your life? What are you not really luxuriating in that you've already got? that can get you to a place where you recognize more of that, I want to say, magicianship. How do you really, really spend that time? That, again, part of may have been what got you to the healing place. Oh, okay. A lot of those special things that you did that may have been a little off grid. I don't know why I'm using that phrase, but some of the things that you did that may have been a little off grid that got you to this healed place in the first place. Now that you are more healed, you may have set some of those tools aside as well. Those were the on my path tools, and you don't use them as much now moving forward as a teacher as you did when you were on your healing path. That one's kind of hitting me in the moment too. All right. And what is that? More of that deep meditation, possibly. More internal journeys, possibly. You're not looking for dark spaces anymore. Hello. Wow, that's kind of a new thought. Maybe you don't need to dig in there and find dark spaces. Maybe now it's more of a continuing to charge the battery, continuing to enlighten yourself more. Meditation can be a fun process now. You're not trying to pull out rotten teeth. You've hit a certain point here, magician, right? All that work you were doing where you, oh, nice. All that work you were doing where you thought you were pulling out trash and like throwing all that trash away, turn around and look at it because you have a lot of value there and a lot of value in those practices that helped you weed that trash out in the first place. Ding, ding, ding. So again, if you ever feel like imposter syndrome, part of that is, are you continuing to practice the things that you are preaching to other people to practice? Are you continuing to practice the things that you are preaching to other people to practice? Because that does two things. It gives a lot more value to what you're telling them when you say, I do this every day. If you're recommending meditation to someone and you go, yeah, I really haven't meditated in 3 or 4 weeks. How's that going to resonate? Really? Okay. And then also, you're going to be your clearest and best self when you say, I'm recommending meditation because I do it. And this is how I feel right now. I didn't have a moment of, oh, well, I shouldn't tell them this if I'm not really doing it. Again, you're resonating as 100. Is it possible to be 110% yourself? Maybe. 10 of Pentacles. Wow. Because that initial thing that I said, when you really are recognizing yourself as the magician and you are practicing what you preach, and recognizing the value of what you have built up over time, then it puts you in, because this is a 10 of Pentacles, and this is not supposed to be. What it initially on the surface represents is sort of almost like an inheritance, like realizing you had it. And I say like finding a big check in a drawer or digging up a treasure chest or something, again, it's going to be long lasting value. Where the 9 of Pentacles is like, oh, hey, that is a result of my work and was kind of a surprise that I'm now going to enjoy. This is more than that. This is exponential growth. That is like a deep wisdom, like a long-lasting piece, like a long-lasting inheritance that comes in. And so what this tells me is when you put these pieces together and you recognize the value of what you already have and you're willing to deeply practice everything that you're preaching, you get more than the sum of these parts, and that's where the magicianship comes in. You are literally a little more than you. I want to say that for me, it is a channeling moment. For me, it is that I am hooking into this larger channel of wisdom. And when I say channel it, to me, there's nothing that mystical to it. It's a radio station that I can know when that truth is resonating and when those ideas come in and when those words need to come through. I don't have a better word for it than channeling. And to me, I am now more than just the sum of myself. There's larger energy, there's larger knowledge that comes in as a result of that antenna that I have cultivated. Ta-da! Cultivated. That's part of this. Some of it intentional, some of it accidental, must be continued, must be enjoyed, must be delved into if you want to continue. Now, even if you did accidentally grow these blackberries, if you want to continue for them to be fruitful and be at their best, now you tend to them. You may have turned around and go, wow, I didn't even see that I was doing that. Now it's time to prune. Now it's time to water. Now it's time to cultivate. Yes, because we want it to attract exactly what we're looking for, continued beauty. And what does that turn into? More wealth than what we expected. More abundance than what we expected. Exactly what we were trying to whip together. Whip. I like the way I said that. Whip. Whip together as being the magician so that we can be something to other people. So that we can really, really do that. I like that. And next, Tiny Tarot, how do we keep that in place? Like, that feels so beautiful and wonderful. And I wish I could go, well, you just roll over and make that happen tomorrow. But then this 9 of Swords comes up, and that is the stuff that runs over and over in your head that literally keeps you from this energy over here. So you've got an option with the sword. Are you going to use the sword in your favor, or you're going to keep the swords, right, that may have been handed to you? Maybe they weren't even yours in the first place. Maybe some of these ideas or these echoes that you have going on that maybe my experience isn't really worth that much value to someone else. Maybe my advice, even though I feel in the moment it's the right thing to say. Like, I feel in the moment that it's almost not even for me, and I need to, and then I question it because who am I? And maybe I need to let them figure this out themselves, right? And this can be a phone call that you didn't make. It doesn't have to be, I didn't become a therapist. It can be any times in those moments that we're working on our intuition. We're trying to figure out the right things to do and make good decisions. We're tuning ourselves to peace. We know that we have access to more than just ourselves in any moment. Should we relax and give it a second? What's keeping that? Again, Tiny Tarot's like, let it happen. What's keeping that from really being tuned in? All of those messy thoughts that you have going up and down. And I say keeping you awake at night because the image is the keeping you awake at night. But goodness sakes, even in the moment when someone's delivering news to you and you are just allowing these swords to come in and this is just like before, right? Belief systems and automatic systems that are running. When you have cultivated this process over here, it is easy for you to recognize what swords are really yours, what swords pertain to the moment, and what swords are bullshit. And that's really important because those that do not take the time to really focus and understand their thought processes and where these things are coming from, what they mean, right? Take a moment. It's less about them just coming at you now, and it's more about you slowing it down and saying, okay, what of these thoughts that I'm getting in this moment are working for me, and what are thoughts that are just bringing up old memories that hurt? Ooh, okay, almost all groups of thoughts can be categorized in a moment. Are these thoughts that are helping me and moving me forward? Or are these I'm so Southern, or are these thoughts that are causing me to remember past painful memories? Ooh, am I remembering wins or loses? Is this helping me or not helping me? Did it have an edge of I'm trying to hurt your feelings a little bit, or did it have an edge of I love you and I'm moving you forward? Whether it's for you personally or even if it's advice that you're giving to someone else, get discerning. Get discerning with your swords. And this process of understanding what you've already grown, reveling in it, continuing the process, continuing to use your magical tools, understanding that you've got more inheritance to pull from than you realize, you can discern which swords need to be yours and moved with and which swords need to be left behind. And the moon is what you don't know. The moon is that anxiety that you have over it. The moon is a lot of what drives some of these swords. Oh my gosh, because if you look at the dogs at the bottom of the moon, the whole thing is that the light is not complete. You've got the two, what do we always have when we have two columns in tarot? You've got chaos and order. And they are not able to clearly discern in this moment what is truly a threat and what is not. And then there's a little lobster coming up out of the depths because that's when the stuff I love it when these messages come in like this. I don't mean to laugh, but it's like Tiny Tarot going, that's when the stuff that's been brewing under there, lobster, snap, 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 that's when all of those things that you haven't addressed start snipping at your ass, like literally snip, 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 because now you're so wound up in not knowing clearly what your next step is. Ooh. All right. So what are you really worried about? Are you worried about a next step where, oh, I need to make some business cards, or, oh, I need to get a Shopify account, or, oh, I need to, are you really truly worried about a next step where the rubber hits the road and somebody with a real problem is coming to you, or someone really has something difficult to address? Are you going to be able to clear those swords? That's why they're coming to you. They are coming to you because they're so wrapped up in this energy right here. You've got to be, this is why we tune. I can't do the work for you, but I can be so solidly tuned and confident that even in my receiving this difficult knot, tangled knot of a problem, even in my hearing it, even in my seeing it, even in me experiencing your pain in the moment as an empath, because I will. Oh, it'll hurt. Right then, I got to be able to go, yes, okay, that has been experienced, but also, where is my tuning? My tuning is truth. My tuning is the knot is no longer tangled. My tuning is you were never ill to begin with. You see what I mean? My tuning is so solid, so strong, so confident that in that moment I can give you precisely, it may not even make sense to me, but I can give you some things you need to hear to help you go, yes, the knot can be relaxed. I remember. That's the frequency I used to be tuned to. Yes. I do see that I can tune to that frequency again. Yes. I do see that some of these swords need to be picked up and carried and some need to be left behind. Yes. I do see that where I was scared and I was allowing some of these old demons to come back and pinch me in the butt. Yes. Thank you. I now have a clearer next step. I will see you in a few months. Like that's the way that usually goes. And you can come away. I'm all right. I didn't get cut by any of those swords that I heard. I was able to call upon something deeper than myself and deliver, right, what I intended in the first place, some relief, a sharing of the frequency that I have fostered. You want to get right down to it? Why do we do light work? Why do we do caring for others? Because we really are trying to share the frequency that we have fostered in ourselves, that we feel we've done such a good job with, that we can now share. And how do we share that? By beaming it and continuing it so hard, like the lighthouse. Oh, and that work is so appreciated, guys. You have no idea. Immediately it says, okay, look, the fact that we said the work is appreciated does not mean, oh, this is a yoke of heavy work that I have to take on because my ancestors have given me this horrible No. It's light work. It's light. Like what Tiny Tarot keeps saying that. You keep saying light work and then you go, oh, light work is... And again, personally, I just get that. I get that energy sometimes when I tune into other programs where they're talking about the difficulty on the planet right now and how hard it is for light workers. And I want to go, it's our job to keep it light, guys. Like we are light workers. And if we start saying that we are bogged down by it, well, then we're not really allowing that faucet to be as open. Let's do the practices that we're teaching. Let's not forget about that. This feels like a really important lesson, but look, this Nine of Cups almost always, I did get choked up when it started, but I was determined not to cry this time. Oh, the cups represent your heart. And this is a 9. And the 9s are just like with this 9 of Pentacles. Oh, they go together so beautifully. Look at that. They build upon, just like we said, you kind of threw the blackberries out and then nature takes its course. You're just doing what you do and nature takes its course. And the reverberating return of love is larger than what you can experience in this lifetime, really. I mean, I don't want to say, because they used to go, well, you have a special crown, a special jewel in your crown when you get to heaven for all these wonderful things that you're doing. It's like, I don't want to put it that way at all. But it does feel like there is an outpouring celebration Because every time we assist a knot becoming untangled, every time we give someone a little bit of light at the end of a tunnel. And now it could be, hey, you help someone completely solve a problem and turn their lives around. That's great. That's the goal. That's fantastic. Now you've got another warrior by your side. Yay, yay, yay. All of that's wonderful. But goodness, let's think about this even in the small terms. Every time you just give someone something positive, every time you continue to shine your light regardless of what's going on around you. If you are the one person that gave that lady a compliment that day, if you are the one person that put something positive in some comments online, keep doing it. You're awesome. If you were the one ray of light in a person's life that you may not have known, that you were the one ray of light that helped them retune to that where they know they need to be tuned. You may not even know when that's happened. Yes, there could be big, giant changes that you see where you have someone tell you, you are the reason that my life got so better. And that's wonderful. That's a nice pat on the back. But that's not what we're doing this. We're doing this for, my grammar gets so bad when that's not really why we're doing this. We're doing this for those everyday micro interactions that we don't really know that we do. Okay, Tiny Tarot, because that's I'm getting all choked up. Damn it, Tiny Tarot. Because that's part of nature taking its course. That's part of magic. I'm just now coming to understand this. Okay, doing the big stuff is great, right? Helping somebody change their lives, becoming a life coach, becoming a therapist, untangling those big knots, that's great. But a lot of the magic happens while your back is turned. That's what Tiny Tarot is saying. A lot of the magic happens while your back is turned. This is why the blackberry bush thing came up. A lot of these things that happen in your interactions with people are not intentional. And you don't even know the impact that you've had on them. And it builds over time. Because how many people do you come into contact with in your lifetime? Or have you in the past that you didn't even know that you had a positive impact on? You're not taking that into consideration when you're giving yourself credit. First of all, thank you, Tiny Tarot. Number one, damn it, give yourself more credit. And two, understand that where you may have some targets where I want people to come to me and I want them to have specific questions and I want to be clear. So I do the work, the same work that I prescribe. But the big thing is I do the work so that everyone I come into contact with, consciously or unconsciously, gets that signal, whether it's intentional or not, because that's where the magic happens. Yes, you can go and intentionally, thank you, Tiny Tarot, it's just coming in. Yes, you can go intentionally plant some trees. That would be great. Or you could just fucking spew seeds everywhere you go, with every step, with every word, with every intention. You can spew the seeds everywhere. Yes, you can intentionally dig a hole and you're going to say, no. But you can also never stop planting. You know what I'm saying? So Tiny Tarot said, wow, I felt like that was so intense that it just sort of took all my cards out of whack. That's all right. Tiny Tarot says, yes, you are doing this so that you will be able to help. Being able to help specific people is so wonderful. Oh gosh, that message was so big at the end. But it's more about shining that light all the time so that you are never not bringing that light into other lives. And it's not about being fake. It's just being your true self in those micro decisions, micro interactions, sometimes letting yourself feel like that feather on the wind that has to say, honey, you look beautiful today. Hey, I really like that song. What a wonderful creation. your child is gorgeous. Like these little things that you feel need to come out of you in these interactions. Maybe not even always, right? Not even always a compliment. Hey, do you need this $1? Hey, let me get your coffee for you. Would you like a ride to work today? Like just little things that you feel moved to do. More is happening in those interactions. More magic is happening in those interactions. More love is being propagated in those interactions than you could possibly know. And that's where, when we say, let nature take its course, that's exactly what Tiny Tarot meant. It's like, girl, bring it all the way back around. That's where the magic is. Yes, when it's time for you to lift a heavy thing, you'll be handed the heavy thing to lift, and your muscles will be toned to lift the heavy thing. Bless you for lifting that heavy thing. But just in your day-to-day, you don't know over time what a collectively heavy thing you have lifted. Like that's what Tiny Tarot's saying. You just don't know what a heavy thing collectively you have already and will continue to lift. And that is a beautiful message. I appreciate that very, very much, Tiny Tarot. All right. I am Low-Key Magical with a K. And you have a magical rest of your day.